Hello, welcome. It is me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. And the planets are fired up about money, power, stocks, tariffs, and control. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down all of that through the lens of astrology. And I'm even going to pull tarot from tariffs to foreign affairs and even the banking system. We're going to get into the stock market. I'm showing you exactly what the cosmic energy says about your financial future, my financial future, our financial future under this leadership of President Trump. Okay. This isn't just a prediction. I don't want to scare you as a warning, but this is a message, okay? And a moment of clarity. So let's see what the cards and the stars have to reveal, shall we?
3, 2, 1.
I love you.
I was contemplating on if I should make this an edited video because I can give you all the graphics and, people with short attention spans now, all that would have been great. But then I said, no, the real is the real. And, the North Node is in Pisces. So let's be real and let's not be so perfect. Okay. So I'm going to give you the definition of tariffs. And mind you, your attention span needs to be open. Okay. I don't have any visual aids or any slideshows or anything. I'm just giving you the real and explaining astrology. And if your attention spans are short, then you can always double speed this video. Okay, so I'm going to explain the basics of everything first, and then we'll get into astrology because me being a true American, I live in a blissful state. So there is no judgment when someone is like, I have no idea what any of this means. So we're going to go to the basics. Okay, so what is a tariff? Okay, a tariff is a tax, it's a duty or a charge imposed by the government on goods and services imported from another country, often used to protect domestic industries and raise revenue or influence trade. So typically, you take a product and let's say you have 25% tariff, which is a tax, on a $10 product, which means you could be adding $2.50 on something that's normally $10 for another country to bring into this country. Okay. Companies that bring the foreign goods into the country have to pay the tax to the government. Okay. Now, the purpose of this is that tariffs are used for various reasons, for protection. So Trump has said that he's using tariffs because he wants to stop immigration and he wants to stop fentanyl. So he's saying if you don't do these guidelines, we're going to raise tariffs on the goods and the trades that you are bringing in. And so that's one example. And then another one is revenue generation to raise funds for government and basically just to get more money. So there's that. And then there's retaliation to punish or influence other countries' trade policies. I'm pretty sure Trump has done retaliation on some countries. I'm sure China or something like that, but it is what it is. This is just what tariffs represents. Different types of tariffs is there's import tariffs, taxes on goods brought into a country. Export tariffs, taxes on goods a country exports. These are kind of rare, that kind of tariff. And then there is an ad valorem tariff, and it's calculated as a percentage of the value of the imported goods. There are specific tariffs, and this is charged as fixed amount per unit of the imported good. And then there's other tariffs also known as custom duties or import duties. Okay. Now I want you to understand that Trump is not the creator of tariffs. And I do want to give a disclaimer, which I hate giving disclaimers, that I am not a Biden or a Democrat or a Republican or a Trump lover. Okay. That is the disclaimer. I am an American and I did vote, but I did not vote for any of those people. I mean, Kamala was running, so I didn't vote for her. Shocker. Because I know you only know about the Bloods and the Crips, but I did not. I was watching White Lotus, and the character of White Lotus, if you've seen the TV show, they're like, oh, wait, are you a Republican? And she goes, no, I'm an independent. And they're like, oh, okay. Wait, but you didn't vote for Trump, huh? And she was like, really, are we going to do this here? Like, so she basically didn't want to answer. Anyway, so I just thought that was a fun scene. That is an interesting show. Okay, back to this. So according to CNN, Biden finalizes increases to some of Trump's China tariffs. So when Trump was president and then Biden became president, Biden kept a lot of his tariffs. Okay. So we have that. The tariff rate will go up to 100% on electric vehicles, 50% on solar cells, and 25% on electric vehicle batteries, critical materials, steel, aluminum, face masks, and shipped to shore cranes beginning. This was back in the day when Biden was president, but this is what it says: tariff hikes on other products, including some chips. I'm thinking like the phone chips are set to take effect over the next 2 years. Trump implemented sweeping tariffs on about 300 billion of Chinese made products when he was office, and President Joe Biden has kept those tariffs in place after basically he kept them. Okay, and it sounds like he upped them. Now, Obama, when he was president, and George W. Bush, they both had tariffs too. So this is basically a thing. Okay, this is not new. And they did tariffs on Chinese textiles in order to shield U.S. domestic producers, accusing China of exporting these products at dumping prices. Okay. So they definitely did it. In 2009, President Obama imposed a 35% tariff on tires from China. Did it work? At his 2012 State of the Union address, Obama declared that over 1,000 Americans are working today because he stopped the surge in Chinese tires. So it worked for him. Now, in 2002, former President George W. Bush imposed tariffs up to 30% on most steel imports from Europe and Asia and South Africa. I don't think South America, it didn't really work. Okay. It translated to a welfare of loss of 41.6 million to the United States. Returns on capital fell by almost 300 million. So Bush exempted a few countries from the tariffs: Canada, Mexico, Israel, Jordan, among others. So we have 3 presidents that I explained. They all use tariffs. 2 of them it worked for, and one of them it didn't work for. However, Biden basically used Trump's tariffs. So there is that. Now Trump is back president, and tariffs are brought up again. Okay. And Trump claims that a 10% tariff on all nations and much higher rates up to 50% on individual countries will boost U.S. economy and protect jobs. So what I read before is that Bush did 30%. Now it looks like Trump is doing 50%. He says, okay, for decades, Trump has argued that the U.S. should use tariffs to boost its economy. He says he will encourage U.S. consumers to buy more American-made goods, increase the amount of taxes raised, and lead to increase the amount of tax raised and lead to huge levels of investment in the country. The first taxes announced during his current presidency term targeted China, Mexico, and Canada. Okay. And he wanted to stop illegal immigrants, and he wanted to stop illegal drugs from reaching the U.S. Trump's minimum, and this article, by the way, is from the BBC News. The other information I got from CNN, and Obama's information was from Wikipedia, just so you know. Okay. So CNN, Wikipedia, and BBC News. I try to do different news articles because they're all biased. So it is what it is. Okay. So the UK, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia are among the countries that this applies to. This 10% tariffs on all imports in the U.S. will be introduced on April 5th. I am doing this live as of April 9th. Okay. So China imports would face 54% tariff, an extra 34% on top of 20%, which they had previously announced. However, China has said in response that there will be a 34% retaliation tariff on U.S. goods. Trump then threatened to introduce a further 50%. Does that make it 100? I don't know math, but that's on tariffs. So, meaning that it will be 104% tariff on some products. China has vowed to fight to the end. Okay. So why does this affect us? Now, this is affecting the stocks majorly. And I got this article from CNN. The stock market is off to another wild day after China retaliates against Trump's massive tariffs. Okay. So China says new tariffs on U.S. goods are 84%, matching the additional tariff that Trump administration just placed on the world's second biggest economy, Trump's so-called reciprocal tariffs, America's largest century, okay, yada, yada, some as high as 50%, which we talked about. Tariffs can negatively impact the stock market by increasing uncertainty. We have that. It can impact on corporate earnings. Higher input costs for businesses is squeezing profit margins. The businesses cannot make as much money, so they cannot give as much money. They cannot hire, so this causes more problems. Okay, a shift in investors' behavior. People don't want to invest in and make a higher risk on assets such as equities, particularly in sectors that rely on international trade. So when you have the taxes being raised and they're getting higher and higher, now the stocks are being higher. It's making the economy go cray cray. It's making people be more. The market is very volatile, right? And the sectors are, people are not investing in anything, and they don't want to do anything that's dealing with international trade. This could have some long-term effects because companies may not adjust to the supply chain, and they have to pay cost per customer and find alternative markets. We might be losing some simple things here. Now, how does this affect the regular person, right? The prices can go up. This can affect our jobs. The trade wars, less global stability. If countries retaliate, it can disrupt global supply chains. So we might have delays in some products, maybe in cars, maybe in cell phones, maybe in technology. This also, it says, too, can affect people's retirement accounts. So like if someone has a 401k, an IRA, companies feel more confident if the stocks go up. But if the stocks go down, it's going to affect that. And so they're not going to be able to give you a raise or do more business or hire. Okay. And they're cutting spending. They're pausing on hiring. They could even be doing more layoffs. So consumer confidence can dip. If people think the economy is bad, they spend less, which slows growth even more. So to sum it all up, for everyone to understand, tariffs equals high prices, potential job changes, the stock market to go cray cray, and retirement savings to be messed up. A lot of people have their retirement in stocks, and the company behavior to not be confident, in a consumer to stop spending, and we want the economy to keep going, right? Also, too, this can affect a lot of our everyday products like cell phones, smartphones, laptops, tablets, TVs, home goods, and furnitures, like, you know, your couches and beds. That could be made from China. Clothing, shoes, accessories, kid toys. A lot of car parts are from China. And yeah, it says household supplies. We'll see. I don't know, like brooms and mops. You know, I don't know if people get that from the dollar store. Maybe they can't get that from the dollar store. You know, I associate everything from the dollar store from China. I don't know why. Because it's like lower uh, people working for less, and then there's lead in some of those things. So I just equate that. Anyway, also too, we have a lot of problems with the banks. So bank stocks crashing globally, even though Trump's tariffs don't target them individually, the ripple effects are enough to spook the financial world. Okay, so this one is from Economic Times. That's where I got this article from. Citibank and Banks of America each fell more than 7.5%. Even major players like JP Morgan, Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley weren't spared, losing about 6.5% to 7.1%. Yeah, so it's not, you know, on them directly, but it is affecting them. So increased credit costs, lower fee income, reduced loan demands, economic slowdown, all that affects the bank. And as of this year, major banks like a Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, and branches all, you know, they're closing down some of their banks. I think this could be more potentially because we have more of a digital system. For example, my oldest, she is 23. She's never really been inside of a bank, and she's had a bank account since she was like 16. I think the last time she went to bank is when she was 16, but when she officially turned 18 and got her own account without, you know, being a minor, everything was digital. So she's never really been inside of a bank. So digital banking is shifting away from physical locations. So this is really affecting all the people who are older, just so you know. But I don't know if that has anything to do with tariffs. I just wanted to explain that has nothing to do with astrology yet. I'm just explaining tariffs, explaining banks, explaining stocks, and how it all is affecting us. And then we'll get into the astrology. So also too, I wanted to because I saw this in an astrological chart, so I wanted to explain that these tariffs also could be affecting gold indirectly and the economy and how gold is. So you have trade wars when you're dealing with tariffs, you have global growth and it's slower, and then you have the stock market being very volatile, right? So when you have these things could be affecting gold. So gold is like a financial safety blanket when people don't trust stocks. Paper currency, as in cold cash, or international trade, they usually buy gold. That surge is demand pushing the price of gold to go up. Okay, gold influences inflation and interest rates. Okay, so gold is a big part of this too. I didn't put this in the title, but I want you to understand that gold backs up all this. I am not that educated on the economy. My husband is like 100%, probably has a self BA in stocks and the economy, but yes, self-taught energy. But anyway, but gold affects retirement accounts. It affects, your jewelry, all that stuff, right? All this can go up, just so you know. Now, let's get into this. Oh, I didn't even put this on here. Oh, actually, we'll share the chart. Let's get into the astrology, and we will be connecting everything. Oh, you guys, this is just a side bit here. Let me move some things. I was actually looking at Warren Buffett, just because I have a group chat and they're talking about Warren Buffett, and I was like, let me, me being an astrologer, I could put my two bits in because I don't know that much about the economy, and I just wanted to show you this. Warren Buffett has the Sun conjunct Neptune in his 10th house. This should be saying more about money. And in his 10th house, it's saying that there's illusions here. If you guys are into astrology, Warren Buffett to me is not to be trusted. I know he seems like a very stable, very rich person, but when I saw this, my spidey senses are saying that there is something shady about Warren Buffett. There's an illusion. He's not self-made. Okay. Anyway, so, or whatever it is that he's giving, that image, that public image is a facade. All right. So moving on. Just want to throw that out there, and it's all about the details with him, because it's Virgo energy in regards to work. Okay, so now we are going to do the inauguration. The reason why I'm doing an inauguration is because we're talking about the presidency. We're talking about while Trump is in presidency for 4 years, okay? And to do that, you need to look at the inauguration chart. So this is the day, the moment he was born as a president, okay? This term, not the first term. Now, I've said this in my inauguration video. Go ahead and check that out. It talks about what we have to expect for the next 4 years. But this one, we're just going to talk about the economy and the stocks and banks. So I want you to understand that this chart has an ascendant in Taurus. And this I've said in the video. Here's the ascendant. It's in Taurus. It's at 14 degrees. So it's a double Taurus energy. So it's really about money. There is no mixing anything about this. Okay. So when you have this in Taurus, the themes are about stability while he's a president. The themes are about stability, focus on economy, material security. What do we deem valuable? Our valuables. Okay. That is all very important. I mean, other Taurus things is focusing on traditions or like American traditions or American values, that as well. Taurus is also big on stocks. I was telling my friend just this morning that that's why the stock building has the bull in front of it. That represents stocks. So what's very important, well, first of all, so that's the main theme across the board. It's a Taurus rising. So this describes his 4 years in presidency a lot. So a lot of dealings on the economy and finances and what he deems as valuable as an American. Now, so that is one aspect of it. Another aspect is that we need to look at the ruler of Taurus, okay? And the ruler of Taurus is Venus. And right now we're just going off the chart, and then I'll give you the predictions. So not currently. So at this chart here, we have Venus sitting very close to Saturn. And when Venus is sitting close to Saturn, First of all, Venus in Pisces is giving a lot of illusions far as what we are deeming valuable, of our economy. Okay, so a lot of confusion. Neptune is about realism. It's about illusions. It's about deceptions. It's about the unknown. Okay, so we have all those things sitting there when it comes to the ruler of Taurus. Okay, already there is an issue when you have that. Now it's sitting there and it's sitting close to Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of restriction. Saturn is the planet of government. Saturn is pessimistic, is negative, and Saturn is going to teach us some lessons in our karma, right? So already we have some issues. Let me see what else we have. Venus retrograding in Pisces. Taurus rising is dealing with banks, money, and oil too. Okay, that's what we deem value. Now, when you have Venus and Pisces alone, there could be some fantasy happening, some illusions, policy based on emotion, not economics. That could be happening as well. Venus represents money, pleasure, beauty, relationships. Okay, so our relationship with Israel, our relationship with Canada, our relationship with Mexico, all that and what we value. So you have that alone. Now, when you have it sitting next to Saturn, Saturn again is a planet of restrictions, delays, hard work, disciplines, harsh reality. Okay. Also, too, the illusions are becoming a reality. The secrets could be becoming more real. The fact that we are lost in a sauce is becoming real. The fact that there is no boundaries is like, oh my gosh, is this true? You could just keep going. You can keep taxing them 104%. This is a possibility. Yes, this is a possibility. And I'm going to be stern because it's Saturn. Okay. So for everyday people, there may be a cost of living being squeezed. Things could be feeling more expensive. The economy could be promising like stimulus and social programs and tax relief, but they could be delayed because that Venus is retrograding as well. A lot of redoing, a lot of going back also to the tight tariffs, right? And compassion fatigue. Saturn is the planet of protection and hard line, tariffs that hurt customers, higher prices, because we are setting limits and boundaries. We are being strict. That's what Saturn would do. Venus and Pisces may try to soften it, and it's retrograde, so it's not really, it's like, okay, I'll solve it today. No, you know what, I renege on that. I'm going to change my mind. We're not doing it. So it could be cold, calculated, and rigid. Also, tariffs it's going to increase, just straight up, regardless of what the debate is going on. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Strain global supply chains, that's going to happen. Product shortages and inflation, that's also going to happen. People may emotionally feel burnt out because you are sacrificing a lot, and Pisces does represent sacrifice. Okay, let me see what else we have on here. Okay, so let me just go back, and because that's what my notes said briefly, but I want to just say this basically. Okay, so this is the ruler of our ascendant, which represents already huge energy of money, the economy, the stocks, right? Now, this is the ruler, Venus. Venus is all about money, and it's sitting next to the planet of doom. It's sitting next to the greater malefic, the greater negative planet. So this is no bueno alone. From these things, this is what we already know. The main theme of him being president is the economy, and the economy is going to be negative and pessimistic. It's going to be cold. It's not going to be really and restricting. A lot of lacking energy, especially in Pisces. Pisces represents lack, insecurity as well. Okay. So you have that already. Now, when we have not only this, I want you to understand that this is what it looks like in the chart. When we leave this chart and we go to the future, we need to look at Venus as well. What is Venus doing in the sky? As I am filming this, Venus is retrograding in the sky. So if you don't know what's going on currently in the news, I said as of April 5th is when they are fighting China and America over tariffs. That is because Venus is retrograding in the sign Aries. Okay, that's conflict. I want you to know the date. So that means that anytime Venus retrogrades while Trump is president, because it is the ruler of his chart, we are going to have problems financially. And I'm going to tell you it's going to get worse. This is not the video of roses and rose-colored lenses, even though we are talking about Pisces. Okay, October 3rd to November 13th in 2026, it is going to be in a sign Scorpio. I'll explain that. Scorpio is all about taxes. Taxes is tariffs, and it's going to be stronger. and it's going to be retrograding. Venus, the ruler of the inauguration chart of President Trump's 4 year in presidency. So that means around the end of 2026, money is going to be bigger and tougher and more restrictive than ever. Okay. There are going to be a lot of mysteries, a lot of controlling when it comes to the finances. Get ready. Do not say I did not tell you. Okay. Also, May 10th to June 22nd. Now, this is going to happen in 2028. It's going to be in a sign Gemini. Venus will be retrograding then. This is also going to cause more problems with tariffs, taxes, finances, the economy, because Trump has a chart that the ruler is in Taurus, and whatever Venus does affects this chart. Okay, so when Venus has some bad aspects, and I'll explain that during my weekly transits, that's going to affect our great old presidency and what we are experiencing as our economy, because that is a big theme of his presidency. Okay, now Gemini represents trade. Trade is what we are talking about here. Tariffs is representing trade. Tariffs is actual tax, but us trading from one another, one place to another, is going to be a big issue. A lot of communications are going to be a big problem when it comes to the finances and the economy. A lot of things on the news when it comes to 2028. He's basically leaving on a bang. Okay. It's almost like he does not want anyone else to vote for Republicans. That is the goal of Trump's presidency. Okay. So that is one aspect. And now I'm going to talk about another one for everyone else, is that we need to look at the eighth house. The eighth house is the planet that represents our taxes. Okay. So individually, when you have your own chart, you look at money that you owe, you look at inheritances, you look at shared income. This is going to all be in the eighth house. Now, both of these, the second house and the eighth house, represents money. And also the ruler, because there's nothing in his house. So a lot of people who don't know astrology is like, well, there's nothing to look at. Well, you look at the ruler. What is the ruler? The ruler is, you look at the zodiac sign. What is the sign of the eighth house? It is Sagittarius. And what is the ruler of Sagittarius? It is Jupiter. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter is in the second house of money, and they're both dealing with money. So here we go. Let me see what I have in my notes so I won't forget anything about the eighth house. The eighth house is other people's money. Okay. The eighth house is, bitch, you better have my money. The eighth house is debt, is hidden power, is taxes, is loans, is joint finances, is trades deficits, it's foreign investments, is power over others, people's money, is big money transfer, control over shared resources, hidden economic agenda or manipulations, and interconnected economy. So I don't know if this is a thing, if America shares money with anyone, but that's a thing too. So tariffs is really big in the eighth house. Okay. And I'm going to give some predictions, but first let me tell you what we have here. There's nothing currently in Sagittarius, but let me see what else. Because we have the ruler, first of all, the eighth house in Sagittarius is all about the philosophy. Okay. So Sagittarius eighth house is all about big promises, small print. Okay. So when you're talking about trade, when you're talking about tariffs, and you're talking about Sagittarius is involved, it's all about more the why than the actual just doing. There's all about this philosophy. So when it comes to owing taxes, a lot of the things when Trump is talking and he's going to explain why he's doing something, he's always going to say why instead of just doing it. We're going to see that a lot when you're talking about taxes. So he's going to give a reason, whether it's real or not, whether it's the truth or not. There's always going to be more of the backing of the philosophy, of the big idea, of the global vision, of more about, this is about foreign affairs. It's going to be that, because that's what this represents. So he's going to say stuff like, it's about America being first. It's about us protecting our U.S. workers. It's about we won't be taken advantage of. It's about, the philosophies of why, okay? Because that's what Sagittarius represents. He's always going to talk about the bigger picture, and it's not going to really be discussed on how it's going to affect the day-to-day people, the everyday people. He's just going to say this big blanket statement, whether you're a Trump supporter or not. I'm just reading a chart. It's just going to explain this big blanket statement. That is what Sagittarius represents. Okay. Now, Sagittarius is sitting there on the same axis of the eighth house, which is all about money, money, money. Okay. And when you have it in the eighth house, it's retrograding. So a lot of redoing, Also, too, Sagittarius could be very poor in planning. So a lot of these things are going to be very huge. They're going to be very expensive because Sagittarius is huge and big. Okay, so all that is going to be really huge. Also, too, Gemini retrograding in that. Also, too, Jupiter in Gemini is in detriment. It doesn't like to be in a sign. And now you're talking about what we value in our finances and stocks. This is all connected too. Okay. The second house is just like Taurus and Venus. Like I said earlier, it's all about what we value, our finances and stocks. And Jupiter is in there, it's retrograding. Jupiter is really positive. However, because this is a day chart, so it's positive. At the same time, it's retrograding. So that means it's not working at its best. Okay, so Jupiter is not working at its best and it is in detriment, meaning it's in a sign that it doesn't want to be in. It's in the opposite house. So Jupiter wants to be in Sagittarius. That's where it's super strong. That's where it's like, oh, I'm so comfortable here. We can do the most over here. We could be so optimistic and we could just talk about the bigger picture and not even worry about the fine print. Jupiter is like, oh my gosh, I'm too expensive. And now I got to worry about the small print because that's what Gemini, it wants to pay attention to the details and it's retrograding. So that means anything dealing with our finances. First of all, it's going to be scattered. Jupiter and Gemini, a lot of scattered energy when it comes to our finances and what we value. A lot of delays because it's retrograding. A lot of retractions. A lot of reviews. So we already saw this happening when he's sitting there arguing with, and then arguments too. Gemini loves a great debate. Okay, so you already saw, and then it's all going to be on the news. It's all going to be tweeted. Okay, because Gemini loves to communicate. Okay, so we already saw like he's discussing the tariffs publicly on X. And that is very Jupiter and Gemini and retrograding because you see that Mexico is like, no. And then they're like, okay. And then they're like, maybe. That's all that Jupiter retrograding. So we're going to keep seeing that, a lot of flip flopping. Okay. And it sounds good. And then they're going to contradict themselves. Even Trump, when it comes to our finances and what we value. Okay. We could see some surprise taxes, some unexpected price hikes, and then retail level shocks. Personal finances. That is what the second house represents too. Our personal finances. That's going to be really big. And let me tell you why it's not going to work the best as well. It's because Jupiter is squaring Venus. Okay. Venus is the ruler of the ascendant of this whole chart, and it's not working great. And these are both benefic planets, but this positive, benefic means positive, it's over here sitting next to the planet of doom. Now, very negative, very pessimistic. So the finances are very negative, and it's cold. It's cold over there, and it's very restrictive. It's very limiting. We got 4 years of this, people. Okay, now you have that, and then it's squaring another positive planet. Usually when these planets are squaring Jupiter and Venus, it could be positive. There's a lot of that because it's so positive. But since it's sitting next to the planet of doom, I'm going to say it's not going to be that positive. Okay. So what you get is a lot of overpromising. Okay, America, I'm Trump. America, when we do these tariffs and we're going to raise them bigger than ever because Jupiter is in our second house, okay? And it's squaring Venus. So it's squaring the stocks in our finances. And we value this. And I am going to overpromise something. I'm going to make it so overpromising that it's going to be a fail. It's going to be a letdown. I'm also going to probably have some misdirecting messaging because it's in the sign Gemini and it's retrograding. Also, too, I can sit here and make a lot of promises that are not going to happen. So I'm going to sit here and say, it's going to make more better. It's going to make jobs better. It's going to make America better. And it's going to disappoint us. I'm just telling you because it's dealing with Pisces, deceptions and secrets and lies. Okay. Jupiter's also squaring Saturn. So the positive planet is also squaring this negative energy. So a lot of coldness, a lot of weight, a lot of burden, a lot of negativity, a lot of insecurity, a lot of tight with the finances, a lot of conflicting agendas, a lot of controlling agendas, a lot of vagueness because it's in Pisces, okay? All that moral confusion, all that. You have that. Let me see. And I just want to say that a lot of back and forth because that's what Gemini can't make its mind. It's retrograding. So we got a lot of back and forth with that. Okay. Let me see. Confusing messages, higher consumer costs due to foreign policy backfires, difficulty trusting the financial system and leaders, risk of emotional fatigue around financial instability and vague promises. Okay. Now let's get into the future. All right. So I'm going to add a chart I just want you to know that it's the current energy as of since wait, why can't I do its current transits? There we go. That is what we have as of just reading a chart. Okay, now let's get into some predictions. Okay, first thing I looked at, because when listening to my husband, hello husband, I listen to you, I know you're not watching this, but maybe one day you are. Okay, listening to my husband, he talks a lot about how gold backs the money system, and how the money system is really not the money, it's really about how much gold we have. So I know that gold is important when it comes to the tariffs, the stocks, the economy, and the bank system. Okay, so I just wanted to explain, actually, let me take that off. I just want to explain gold before. So this is still about the present and not the future. I'm sorry. I wanted to explain gold. First of all, when you look at gold, if you're looking in astrology, Leo is about gold, and the sun. Both the sun and Leo represents gold. Now, what you see here is that the sun is sitting close to Pluto. Okay. Okay, so that means Pluto is the planet of power, transformation, collapse, rebirth, okay, intensity. All right. And when you have it in charge of our gold sitting next to the sun, that means that there is going to be some intensity when it comes to gold. People are going to be more intense when it comes to gold. Our gold is going to have more power than ever. Or maybe there is going to be a transformation in gold. Maybe they're going to sit here and say, you know what? Pluto represents secrets and mystery. We're going to take control over gold. I do want you to understand, if you want to know your history, you know your future. That is a Sankofa. And historically, when there was a war, when the Nazis were, what war was that? World War II, World War III. My son would be like, "How can you not know? Oh my gosh, you're so dumb." I don't know. Okay, so during that war, they told everyone to turn in their gold. Everyone turn in your gold, whatever you have as gold, turn it in, because the price of money is the best right now. So everyone turning your gold will give you hard cash. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, turn it in, turn." I think they even made it a law. Like everyone must turn in their gold. Okay, so everyone turn in their gold. They think they're rich. Once they finish that and say, "Okay, everyone turn in their gold. You turned in your gold. Did you turn in your gold? You turn. Okay, good. Oh, Becky, you turn your. Okay, good. I got Becky's gold. All right, everyone turn in their gold. Now we are going to up the price of gold. Gold is going to be valued more, and we are going to reduce the price of cash. They've done this in history, and I'm pretty sure they've done it throughout history. So, what I'm trying to tell you through history is that that's what this chart is looking like. When I see this and I see transformation of gold, I see that that is going to happen. Okay. Now, we have it in Aquarius. I'll explain that in a minute, but major gold prices will spike. Nations hoarding gold, that could be a possibility. Attempts to control and restrict gold ownership, that also is a possibility. Markets can get secretive, manipulative, or deeply political about gold, leverage power, back new currencies, or hedge against collapse of gold. Now, Aquarius means very futuristic. And I find when you have this in a sign of Aquarius, they're going to say, "Oh, you know what? Crypto is the new gold. We don't need gold. We just need the future. What is the future of gold?" Pluto is deceitful. I mean, it's not Pisces, but there's some mysteries because it likes to have control. It's very manipulative. Okay. So when you have it in Aquarius, it's going to say something about the future and digital currency are making a radical change. Okay. So gold could be the new symbol, not the new symbol. Gold could be like, here, it's not worth anything, but we're going to give you crypto. So instead of giving you cash, we're going to have everyone turn in their gold, and we're going to give you some type of digital currency that we're going to say is worth so much money. Okay. Be careful. That's what we have. Okay. Let me see, is what we have. Rise of platforms offering gold backed digital tokens. That is what we have. I think that's probably worded better. Government reluctant to adopt, but private sector alternate. Okay. So I'm thinking that is going to be more of a thing that's going to happen. There could be a destruction of trust in current financial systems. I'm thinking that's already happening, because Aquarius is the system belief, Pluto is the death, Sun is what we value, and it's putting a highlight on that. So that could be happening as well. Okay. So now you have the just on gold. I would suggest everyone to buy a little gold. Get you a gold necklace, get you a gold grill. I want a gold grill. My husband thought I was playing when I said that. I was like, I am so serious. I want to go grill. So I think I might be getting a gold grill one day. But you can't be snatching up my gold. Get your own go. Everyone, there is enough resources for everyone. No one should be stealing. Use your brain, use the wisdom and the talents that God has given you. Okay, now we are going to go into the future. Okay, and I want to bring up the chart, and I'm going to look at Venus. Venus retrogrades. Here, we'll go into this chart. Two. Okay, so we'll compare it to here. Venus is going to retrograde. It's going to retrograde in retrograde. It's going to retrograde in Scorpio in the 7th house. It's going to happen October 22nd. Remember, I told you earlier, this is going to be a big financial problem at the end of the year. I mean, at the end of 2026, emotional panic. Okay, manipulation when it comes to the finances is going to be doing something with trade. This is the 7th house. Okay, the 7th house could be representing actually China. It could be representing China. China could be an open enemy. This is an open, this house represents open enemies. It also represents our relationships with others. So whoever is Trump's open enemy for us, a foreign affair, this could be a big thing. This is not necessarily foreign, though, because that would be more Jupiter. This is more of an open enemy. So we're just going to say China could be an open enemy. So this could be bad for China. Okay. That is 100% a possibility. However, it is the ruler of our chart. So it represents agreements, Venus. It represents the 7th house. It represents power dynamics. It represents financial partnerships, trust, betrayal, hidden motives, deep, intense revaluation, because we are dealing with Scorpio. Scorpio is a no fluff sign. It likes to have control, leverage, secrecy, manipulation. Venus retrograde in that 7th house is about alliances, some legal contracts. All that is going to be broken down and re-entered into some secret stuff that we may not see. Well, we look like we're going to hear about it. Because Mercury is always sitting there when Venus is retrograde, and it's like, tell us the juice, tell us the tea. So we may be hearing some tea about the open enemy, which I would say is China currently. And 2026, whatever country we are arguing with over some tariffs, get ready for the end of that year. Okay, now let me see what else we have with this. Okay, we'll go into the next one. So then the next one, let me see if I explained everything with this. U.S. trade partnership could be happening. Yeah, just a lot. The tech stuff, I mean, not the tech, a lot of things with the tariffs and stocks, the economy, no bueno around this time, okay? Even though it looks like it affects more of the open enemy, it still deals with our balance and our harmony, and it still deals with the ruler of our president's chart, okay? Now, I wanted to say this quickly. Now, the 2nd and 8th house, actually, let me just show it back to you. The 2nd and 8th house, anything dealing with these two things, because this is what we've been talking about. And this is Scorpio energy. This is Taurus energy. So we are Taurus rising. The president's chart is in Taurus rising. And I would say president if Kamala was president. I want you to understand, I respect both sides of presidency, okay? They're the person in charge, okay? So the president chart is in Taurus, right? And Taurus represents, again, the 2nd house. You know, you're not supposed to say that if you're an astrologer, but I'm going to explain to everyone, for the people in the back, for people who are learning astrology. Okay, 2nd house is very much similar to Taurus. 8th house is very much similar to Scorpio. Okay, and Pluto is similar to Scorpio, right? Scorpio is already here. Venus is in charge of also the ruler of Taurus. Okay, so again, a lot of themes of finances. Okay, the 2nd house represents our national income, our self-sufficiency, our currency, our wages, our tangible goods and trades, our personal wealth of our citizens of America, what the country values, our economic stability and security. Now, the 8th house, national debt, share resources with other nations, our taxes, our tariffs, our interest rates, investments in markets and financial speculations, government control over wealth, what the country owes or is bond to, and economic vulnerability, our risk, our leverage. All that is going to be big. All of that, again, is going to be big. Now, if I fast forward to 2028, okay, now Trump is almost finished not being president. He is almost done with not being president here, okay? And if we go to this chart here, you see that Venus is retrograding at that time, May of 2028. It's in Gemini. Now, where is it? It's in the 2nd house. Gosh darn it. Again with the finances, okay? What is this really worth? What are we really worth? What is our stock market? Is it going to be a correction? Is there going to be a split in narratives? Is it going in two directions? That could be happening, okay? Inflation and price manipulation. Gemini represents trade. So tariff tensions between as reach its boiling point when it comes to trade. A lot of redoing, a lot of collapsings, a lot of repeating, tariffs repealing or restructuring. That also could be happening. So that could be good. And it's squaring some stuff, okay? Let me see. Sextile square. It's squaring our Venus and Saturn. So this is a no bueno for us towards the end of it. It's just not looking good, okay? I just want you to understand. When Venus was over here, let me see. I think it was early 8. So I don't think, let me see. Yeah, 8 degrees. It was at 8 degrees. Yeah, that's squaring our ascendant. So yeah, that's affecting us too. It's no bueno, okay? Now, as of currently now, if we go back now, current transits. If you see here, this is why we have some problems here. Venus, the ruler, this is the energy in the sky currently as of today's date. Venus is retrograding and it's sitting on top of these planets. And what I'm telling you is that this is going to, in 2028, be sitting here, affecting these planets, squaring. All right. Then in 2026 is going to be sitting here, affecting our rising, annoying the mess out of us. Okay. Jupiter, the ruler of this house of taxes and tariffs, all that stuff, is now coming back. It's coming back around. That is what we have now. Wait, no, that's not coming back around. Wait, what? Okay, in June, it's going to enter the third house. Okay, so let me actually do some months here. It's going to enter this third house, and it's going to mosey up over here. Now, this is what we're talking about, our taxes. So the end of this year, we have Jupiter sitting on top of Mars, okay? This is going to be a lot of aggression when it comes to our tariffs. Okay, more protection on our tariffs, more protection on our financial future in our homeland. Okay, massive infrastructure on home, military spending. Maybe because we have to do the military, we got to spend a lot. Okay, tariffs have to spike because we are scared of the fighting, of the war. That's got to even be a big thing. Okay, that could be happening. Okay, we fight for what's ours. Cancer is territorial, Mars is about action, Jupiter magnifies. So it's going to make everything big. So tariffs are going to be increasing in October. No mother effing chill, okay? Based on emotional nationalism and moral reasoning, not purely on economic logic, because we are dealing with emotions. It's very emotional here. And that Mars is retrograding. That Mars retrograding means not working great with the aggression. That means you're overly aggressive during this presidency. So overly aggressive, and hence why we have the 104% of tariffs being raised. So again, now, when it's conjunct Mars, you're talking about information of wars, trade secrets, leaks, economic propaganda. It's sitting there next to that IC. So something that's really dealing with our country and our nation and our land as well. There's going to be something financially that's going to be connecting us. And this is going to be around October. Venus, let's see what is Venus doing, child? Okay. Venus is sitting over here in the south node of releasing something. So something needs to be released. Something has to be let go for us to gain something here. It's going to also be opposing our Venus here. It's going to also be opposing deception and secrets. So a lot of illusions and deception and secret when it comes to our finances. Get ready for that. I do know that that's going to be big because Jupiter is in charge of the tariffs. Okay. And it's going to be sitting there on top of aggression, action, war, protection, and it's going to make it bigger. So I think tariffs as a weapon is going to be bigger as of October. Okay. Debts exploded as a national security. That would probably be like, we have to do this because we have to protect our homeland. Consumer behavior is going to be fear-based. It's going to be defensive. Let me see. Yeah, that is what we have of everything, you guys. I hope that makes sense. Far as the money, I'm going to pull some cards. We're going to connect it. Let me know if you have any questions. What I'm basically saying is, let me see what else have. Okay, wait, I didn't even do the whole 4 years. Actually, let's pull it back up. So here, money. We have that October, the 2025. Then it's going to be pushed here. Our tariffs. This is a sign of Leo. Is a sign of conflict. So more conflict, more about the leader and the boss and who is the boss. A lot of fire energy. This is a fixed sign. It doesn't want to change. So it's going to be very stubborn when it comes to the tariffs and our taxes that we owe as an economy. It will be sextiling. So that is more positive, but it'll be more, leader. It has to be a strong leader and they're going to be very fixated. Okay. That is what we have there. But if this is retrograding, that's not working that good, sis. Okay. And then if it's no, it's not sextiling, but that is going to probably cause some more problems here with our leadership, because this is representing leader, king, president as well, in that fourth house of home. So conflict and still being stubborn about the home. We have it moving here around 2027 in that fifth house. The fifth house could be representing more again about leadership. It is like that Leo energy, but it doesn't seem sextile square. It will be squariness. Again, it's going to be squariness, but as it leaves this, so around October, this again is not the best. It's going to be opposing this energy. It just doesn't look good for the economy, you guys. It just always looks bad for the economy. As he ends his presidency, we get a little bit sextile square trine. It gets a little bit better as he leaves. I don't know. It's because people are like, we are voting you out. I'm not sure. But the economy looks a little bit better. There is insecurity when it hits here. I do have to say that, or a big focus on our emotions or the people too. The moon represents our emotions and the people. Okay. So that is what we have as a gist of the stocks and the taxes and the tariffs. So I'm going to pull some cards and I'll do it for each year. Okay. So this year, what do we have for the tariffs and what do we have for the everyday people? Okay. For us, the tariffs, we have the Queen of Swords. A lot of people are going to have some knowledge and some understanding and some truth around it. Okay. There also will be some honesty, some direct communication. Yeah. So I think people are going to have some more awareness, and there's going to be, this is more compassionate energy. So everyone's a little bit more compassionate right now. But we are learning the truth about tariffs. And what about the everyday people? Ooh, we have the Pentacles, the King of Pentacles in reverse. Everyday people are suffering financially as of this year. Now, of 2026, what do we have for the tariffs? We have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is more about tradition and a belief system. So again, I think he's going to do that whole the philosophy of we have to make America great again. This is why we have to do it. And he's going to be backing it off of our belief system, almost like it's a religion. Like this is what we believe as a people, especially with that Jupiter in Cancer. We have to protect our homeland. So we have to raise the money. For us, the tariffs, we have the Death card. So there is going to be a change in the economy for sure. Around 2026 and 2027, far as the tariffs, and that involves the people, the everyday people. There is a transitioning happening for us. Let me see. Rebirth, big change, time to move on, transformation, transition, endings, letting go, releasing, starting anew for the collective, for us, the day-to-day people. Now, for us, the tariffs in 2027, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So it looks like the Knight of Pentacles, the money and the economy, the tariffs might be a little bit better. There's still a lot of fighting because the Knight is about war when it comes to the finances. And then for the everyday people, we have a card in reverse, and it is the Knight of Wands. So we will be struggling. We're going to be impatient. We're going to be very frustrated, very confrontational. So that is not a happy year for the day-to-day people, but the government seems pretty happy in what they're doing. They're fighting for their finances. They're getting what they want, but the day-to-day people are not. So now the last year, because I think it's 2028. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2028 is the last year. And it looks like there's a collaboration the last year. There is something that we're learning financially. There's some teamwork, some skilled, some shared goals. And for the day people, the Judgment card is in reverse. So there is, again, some unfinished business. There's self-doubt. We are not happy. We are not happy, the day-to-day people, far as the finances, okay? Major arcanas, We have for 2028, so that means a big deal. 2027, a big deal. Those are going to be big economically for us. And yeah, so let me see, is Trump being shady? Let's ask that question. Is Trump being shady for as the economy? Is he being shady for our economy? We have the hangman. The hangman is an illusions. It represents Neptune. There's illusions, there's deception. So I would say yes. He could be giving an illusion that he is sacrificing a lot and he's caring about the people. And let me see what else we have here. The Ten of Cups in his abundance. Maybe he thinks he's doing something good, actually. Maybe he is like, look, I'm trying to sacrifice a lot to give to the people to make us happy as as an American. That could be possible. Let me see if we have any more cards. Everything else seems pretty positive. So we have the Seven of Pentacles, and this is long-term investments. So maybe in the long term, it is going to work out. But as of these 4 years, it's going to be really rough economically. And there's something from the past that is going to come up, something that he has to constantly keep doing. But then at the end, we have the Page of Pentacles, like the start of something new economically. But there has to be a rebirth, a cleansing of some sort, because you have the Judgment card and you have the Death card. So there is some cleansing, but maybe Trump isn't doing bad. Maybe it's actually just the beginning, and maybe it's like, how you clean your house and it's very messy and you're like, oh my gosh, now I don't even want to finish cleaning up. I took everything out the closet. But then, when you declutter and do everything, maybe we are going to be in these 4 years of the messiness where everything is out of the closet and we don't want it out of the closet. That is a possibility. At the same time, there is a lot of illusions and secrets happening and a lot of retrogrades happening when it comes to our economy. All right. So that is what I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do want you to know I got some free stuff down below. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please. It helps me so much. If you thumbs up, if you comment, if you like, do this.
Bye bye.